Hey everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Vise Squad, brought to you by Anadroma's Fly Company and Fly Life Company. After you've watched this video, head over to our online stores at fishingoutdoors.ca and fishingoutdoors.net for U.S. and international shoppers. Also, if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and the little reminder bell, that way you don't miss any upcoming videos. Today we are going to tie a olive jigged bugger in size 8. You can see here we got a size 8 jig hook from R7, and then a 4mm tungsten bead in or copper color, and several wraps of lead wire. About as much as I could fit on there before I messed up the tail. So we're going to start our thread right here behind the lead, bring it back to about there. And with all this lead, I am going to throw a little bit of super glue on it. Got Loctite here. I'm just going to throw a little on top and then get our bodkin out that we're going to use to smooth it out a little bit, work it into the crevices for the wire. There we go. Awesome. So now, give that a second to dry. That way you're not catching your feather on it. That just gets annoying at that point. But over here, we're going to measure out the length of our tail. I want the length of the shank, not including the bead. So measure it out right about there. There we go. And just bring it back to the lead. And by doing that, we are going to even out this body so we don't mess up our taper. Just snip that off. Just work it right in. Alright, now we're going to tie in a piece of wire. It's olive colored. Tying on my side, either side should work honestly. And then we're gonna bring a couple wraps over top of the lead. Didn't get it quite up against the bead like we should have. Add a few wraps in there, and then no big deal. There we go. And then bring it back. And now we're gonna use some olive hare's ear dubbing that we're going to use for the body of this fly. Give it a nice buggy appearance in the water. You just use little by little for this. Hare's ear dubbing is very hard to work with at times. So using little by little, we can really minimize the pain here. And these huge guard hairs we're actually going to trim out. I just want the bugginess from the dubbing itself. Also want to make sure we're building a taper as we do this. So I'm actually going to bring a little bit of this next one back over top of the last clump. There we go. And we'll finish trimming out the mega guard hairs afterwards. So then just continue to work that up. Another thing with this dubbing is it tends to puff out a little bit, so you actually want to build the taper a little bit more than you would before you put the wire on. Once you put the wire on, it's actually going to clench down a little bit, and you're going to lose a little bit of that taper in bulk. So, show you what I mean here as we pull this over, counter wrap. See See how it's really laying the body down. You don't have quite as thick of a body anymore. And then tie it off. Now we're gonna trim the mega guard hairs first, all right? And then we're gonna take our brush and bug it back out. I don't want these mega guard hairs. I think they kind of mess with it a little bit. But instead, what we want is to pull this out like that. Perfect. Alright, and now we are going to tie in some rubber legs. They're going to float back in the water. So I'm going to measure out with the tail. You guys can see what I'm doing. Measure out with the tail. 1 wrap, 2 wraps. I'm going to make sure they're pretty heavy wraps too. Pull it over, a couple more wraps, and then cut them to the same length. The first one should already be the length you want, so just tie it to that length. And then we're going to add a little bit more hairs ear dubbing, kind of preen them back. And what the dubbing doesn't do, the soft hackle should also do. Right there. Perfect. Actually, I want them a little bit shorter now I'm looking at it. How about midway through the tail? Yeah, that's what I want. So now we're going to take our soft hackle feather off of a whiting Brahma hen in badger dyed dark olive. I want about the middle of the cape, I believe. Just going to do our best here. Try your best to measure it, to find a feather that's going to measure well with this. Get your hackle pliers out. Trim off your feather, goes like that. We're just gonna grab here, pull back, and we're gonna cut that off to a flat edge. Tie it in from there. What I like to do is I like to pull 1 wrap and then pull it a little bit, and then cover it up. And then put our hackle pliers here on the stem. And as you put in this hackle, I'm gonna preen it backwards. In my opinion, you want this to be a little bit heavier than your normal soft hackles. Nice, evenly done. Catch it. Trim off that stem. And just continue to work your thread until you get the desired preen back on those feathers. You don't want to overdo it, but you do want to make sure they're going that direction. Actually, for fish purposes, they'll end up going back. This is more for aesthetics than anything. Pull your legs out, make sure they're pointed back where you want them. And any wild fibers to get away from you, just pluck them out. Your spring scissors do a great job for that, honestly. Whenever I just have one fiber that I kind of want to get out of something, grab with the spring scissors, especially the curved ones. Right now I'm using my flat tungsten carbide ones, but nonetheless, I'm gonna half pitch off here. One more just for good measure. Awesome. And there you have your Jigged Euro bugger and olive. The water should ride like that. A lot of people fish these on a Euro rig, and then they'll actually bring their line up and down and while it's in the water. Give it a little bit of a look to the deeper pools. So there you go. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments or message me directly on Instagram or any of our social medias. But I prefer you comment down below, that way everyone else that also has a similar question can see it. I will definitely be there to answer you. Since you watched this video, please hit the like button if you did enjoy it, and head over to our awesome online stores at fishingoutdoors.ca and fishingoutdoors.net. That being said, I'll see you guys next week, next Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good Sunday.